How are you?
I'm
Welcome.
well. Thanks for having me.
It's an absolute privilege to have you and to share these remarkable jewels with all of us. So, welcome all of you all. Today, we are in for some royal treat. With us is Sotheby's London specialist, Arabella Hiscox, who's catalogued the jewels of their upcoming auction, which is scheduled on 24th of March in London. And today, Arabella, she will share with us some of royal family stories and she will also share with us their remarkable jewels. Let's begin by knowing about your journey with Sotheby's.
So I joined Sotheby's about 7 years ago in the silver department, and then I joined jewellery about 5 years ago, which has been, it's an amazing day-to-day job to have this jewellery on your desk and be able to research and write about it is a real privilege.
Now let's talk about the auction. So tell us all about the auction. When is it scheduled for and what lots are going to be offered?
So we've got 385 lots, not just jewellery. We've got furniture and silver and Russian, and it's being auctioned next Wednesday, the 24th. And this is really the collection of Patricia Knatchbull, who was the Countess Mountbatten of Burma. And it's also her family. So we've got her husband's side of the family, the Knatchbulls are this old English family. And then the Mountbattens are obviously one of the most connected families to all European royalty. So we've got this wonderful kind of tangent. What's so nice about the jewellery is it really draws upon all those themes, the historicism, the glamour, and then Patricia's sort of more everyday pieces.
Do we have a preview of these jewels in London?
No, because of lockdown. We were really hoping for it, but then we're still in lockdown. So if anyone wants photos or videos, please ask us because we'll happily send them. It's just we can't let anyone in. If you're a member of the trade, you are allowed in. It's just the public we can't. So trade are allowed in, and the view's Saturday to Tuesday.
Okay, lovely. And so now for all of us, let's start with the preview of the auction. What do you have to show us first?
I thought I'd go quite glamorous to start with. So Patricia's mother, Edwina Mountbatten, was one of the most glamorous women of her generation. She was the goddaughter of King Edward VII, and she was the heiress to one of British wealthiest families. And she had this incredible collection of tutti frutti style jewelry. So I'll show you this necklace.
Gorgeous.
And Louis Mountbatten was the last Viceroy of India. So Edwina obviously had this huge connection to India, which we can see in this sort of carved gemstones. And she really embraced what Cartier were doing in the sort of early 20th century. So she had this amazing Cartier Tutti Frutti Bondo, which is now in the V&A. This set, it's not signed Cartier, but it still sort of captures that sort of essence of it. So this necklace is one of our top lots. It's 40 to 60,000. So you've got this wreath of carved emeralds with the sort of ruby and sapphire and diamond highlights. And I think what's so nice about Tutti Frutti is you're not looking at the individual gemstones, you're looking at this explosion of color, and the texture really, the carving gives this amazing texture. And then it's highlighted by diamonds, sort of little collet set diamonds. So that's the back. So you can feel it's sort of very flexible, and it sits quite short, quite high on the neck. You can see it there.
Oh, beautiful.
So that's the necklace, and then we've got this charming little jabot pen, which you can see there. So you can see it's a bird up here in the tree. And what's really interesting about this is the bird has a drill hole in it. So it obviously implies that this was taken from an earlier jewel, perhaps a necklace. And this is 7 to 9,000. And it's so nice to see that obviously as Edwina, the Viceroy of India, had this huge connection with this sort of Indian traditional gemstone carving. We also have jewels that she was given for her wedding. So her husband, Louis Mountbatten, gave her this gem set bracelet. So it's coloured sapphires, zircons, and a hessonite garnet. And then it's spaced by diamonds. And the way they're set, it almost looks like lace panels set with diamonds against these gemstones.
Wonderful.
And Edwina gave Louis a Rolls Royce. So not a bad wedding.
Wow, not a bad wedding. I'm guessing that she came from a very influential family too, right?
Yeah, so she was the goddaughter of King Edward VII, and she was one of the wealthiest heiresses of her time.
So these are the jewels of her mother. That's Patricia's
Yes,
mother.
Patricia's
Hmm.
mother, Edwina.
Okay, and now can we see some of the jewels of Patricia which are there at the auction?
Yes, so these Patricia's jewels are sort of much more intimate in a way. They're not as glamorous as Edwina. Edwina was one of these huge sort of held parties and went to balls and things. Patricia was a much more sort of home life really. So we have this clip which Louis Mountbatten, her father, designed for her on her wedding day when she married John Brabourne. So you can see it's PB. And she wore this sort of throughout her life. And there's a lovely photo of her and her husband in the catalogue wearing it. And so that was designed by her father. He also designed this brooch for her, which is this, all set with diamonds.
Wonderful.
As a present. And obviously he was very famously he was in the Navy, a very successful naval officer. So we think that this sort of use of a wave motif reflects his association with the sea.
Stunning. And can you see the backside of this brooch, please?
Yeah. So it's, again, you see that sort of the wave pattern.
As we mentioned that you have catalogued the entire collection. To us about your journey of intense research and the work that went behind the scenes.
So it obviously there's a lot of work in just sort of getting the sale to where it is now. And what's so exciting with cataloguing is you start opening the boxes that they were stored in, and some things look very incongruous. So for example, let's say this pendant. It's in banded agate with a diamond, sort of very, very small, and it doesn't look like, you know, it's not a big diamond. But then you realise that this was actually belonging to Queen Victoria. So Patricia was Queen Victoria's great-great-granddaughter, as I said, and this was designed by Albert for Victoria after the death of Victoria's mother. So these discoveries, as you're cataloguing, are probably the most exciting. And actually on this, we have an inscription saying, "From Albert in remembrance." So that's that's a funny discovery. And then the other sort of exciting thing about cataloguing is when you see pieces like this, which is this incredible,
stunning.
That's a rock crystal, emerald and diamond bracelet. And again, cataloguing, we opened it, it was in a Boucheron box. It's sort of from 1929. So we thought, fine, Boucheron, great. And then you look at the signature, and it was by Hennell, which is, they're a British jeweller who were doing things in the 20s and 30s to rival the international houses like Boucheron and Cartier. And so pieces like this don't really come up at auction that often. So when they do, it's really exciting.
Wonderful. This is really remarkable.
It is. And what's so nice is obviously the rock crystal, it's very translucent and it looks like it weighs nothing, but actually it's quite weighty. And then this sort of very, very bold, colourful linking is so light. So it's a really nice sort of thing to touch and to play with and to hold.
Bracelet which can be worn as a choker, or it's just
No, it's a bracelet. I mean, you probably could adapt it. So you probably could put sort of something at the back, which would look really amazing. This is 15 to 20,000. So it's by Hennell, and we actually found the archive drawing dating it to 1929. It's really exciting.
Interesting. These are jewels certified?
No, there isn't sort of things that are sort of big gemstones like Colombian emeralds and stuff. It's much more sort of smaller and slightly more decorative. So we haven't got any certificates apart from one pair of pearl earrings, which are natural.
What earrings are you wearing?
These are a pair from the sale. So these are a pair of diamond earrings for 6,000 to 8,000. They've got these little pear-shaped ones hanging underneath with these big lobes. And then I've also got an amazing ivy necklace. So from the late 19th century, gem set with ivy. And actually this has fittings. You could have worn it as a tiara. We just haven't got the frame, but you could make one. If you bought this, you could easily make one and wear it.
Maybe request you to show us those earrings a little closer if you can remove them.
Of course. So you can see the sort of articulated pear drop.
Yes.
Like that.
And it has a marquise on the top, or is just a clasp?
No, that's actually a small clasp. I feel like these earrings might have been sort of commissioned, and so this feels like a sort of part of an earlier jewel. But what's so nice is like these are things that have been worn and loved by the family and really treasured.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
The earrings are 6,000 to 8,000.
So show us the necklace that you're wearing.
Yeah, I'll take it off so you can see it better.
And how long it took you to catalogue the entire auction?
It took a few months. Not you have quite a short deadline in terms of sort of going between proofs. Sorry, I'm just trying to check this off. So it's sort of a lot of back and forth and research and speaking to various sort of departments. And then once you put the catalogue to press, it's a slight kind of, now you can enjoy it. So this is the necklace. So you can see it's these ivy leaves.
Right.
This is 4,000 to 6,000 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And if I show you the back as well, I mean, it's beautifully made and just sort of glides over your hands.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look, it's probably hard to see on the video, but there are these tiny screw fittings on the back, and that's where you could screw in the tiara frame. It's just a shame we don't have it, but I mean, you could. It would be amazing, just ivy in the hair like that.
Is it a particular necklace signed?
It's not. I think there's a very few amount of pieces in the sale are signed. We have a little Boucheron enamel butterfly and a Cartier cultured pearl bracelet, but the majority of them aren't, although we do have one thing that is signed, and it's not jewellery, but is very, very, very cool. And it's this little bag by La Cloche Frere, which is, so by La Cloche Frere, circa 1905. And I adore it. I think it's so charming. And it's got little diamonds on its trotters and its tails. And it was made in Paris. It's 18 karat gold, and this mesh, which is all these tiny gold links, just feels like silk.
Right.
And this belonged to Edwina, and actually the family obviously I think they had a long history of interesting pets. So I know the Maharaja of Jaipur gave Edwina and Louis a horse for their wedding, and Edwina brought home a lion cub from South Africa when Patricia was 13, and they had it in their Broadlands estate.
Wonderful.
So this is
and can you open this clutch for us?
So it opens, it's got a little loop, and that's how it opens. But you can see when I open it, kind of, and looking at the light through, just how fine the mesh is, and it's in really lovely condition. There's no sort of tearing or anything to it, but it's beautiful. So you
Wonderful.
Can see in there.
Yes.
Enough to have a lipstick and a credit card.
Yes.
All you need, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pig.
We have any more Indian-inspired jewels since her father was the last Viceroy of India?
So we have, this is sort of going back to India and also Queen Victoria. This is this sort of Indian diamond bracelet, sort of with these flat cut diamonds and enamel. And in it, if we open it, there is a portrait miniature of Prince Albert as a boy.
Oh, how lovely.
And this is in for 4,000 to 6,000 pounds. And it belonged to Queen Victoria, and she was wearing it in 1840 when she told her ministers that she intended to marry Albert. So it's obviously a huge, huge amount of history. And this was passed down to Queen Victoria's daughter, Alice, and then Alice's daughter, Victoria, the Marchioness of Milhaven, who was Louis Mountbatten's mother. So we have this perfect line of succession, really. So when you're seeing pieces with this provenance, and you also know how strong the history and the connection is, it's really exciting.
Right. I believe there's an enamel work also. There's a green enamel work.
There's green enamel. If I hold it
Wonderful.
like that, is that?
Yes.
And then I'll show you Albert again. And this is a miniature after a portrait that's also in the sale.
And the condition looks very well maintained.
It is. I mean, there's a few, kinks and things and a missing stone, but considering this was made in 1840, I think it's looking pretty good.
It's remarkable.
And then that's the back, sort of in those closed settings, and that lovely kind of soft, warm gold.
Yes. And I don't see any sort of scratches or any sort of mark on the gold. That is not through the live conversation.
Yeah. They really looked after their collection.
Yes. Fantastic. You just spoke about Albert and Victoria. We've heard about their remarkable love story. So do we have any more jewels commemorating the occasion?
So we have obviously the pendant I showed earlier that Albert commissioned Victoria after the death of her mother. And that, and then we obviously the bracelet of Albert. Those are the only two with the connection. We also have some mourning jewellery, which Queen Victoria commissioned. So her daughter Alice died aged 35 in 1878. And so there's a small collection of pieces. So one of them is this pendant. And actually, it's when you're cataloguing, we all know Victoria of being in her mourning clothes and her black, famously for 40 years, that's all she wore. But in the 4 lots in this sale, you looked at the dates, and within 17 years, she lost her husband, her mother, her daughter, and her granddaughter. So it really kind of shows in a very physical way the sort of grief she must have endured. So this is for her daughter, Alice. We've got this sort of onyx and banded agate heart, and then if you look at the back, there's a lock of hair and Alice's date of death inscription. And this is in for £2,000 to £3,000. And I think even though it was 143 years ago that this was made, I think it looks so contemporary with the black and the white and the tiny little diamonds, and it's a really beautiful piece.
What is the significance of having hair in most of the Victorian era jewels?
Well, they thought it kind of contained the spirit of the person, and the essence of them, and it was a way of keeping the dead with them long after they're gone. So going back to the one of Victoria's mother, if we open it, there's a photograph which at that time was quite new, so it was a much better likeness of a person as opposed to an enamel miniature. And then we also have hair again, and they used, it was a very kind of sentimental way of keeping that person with you. Talking about hair and jewelry and sentiments, we have this is the big one. This is
lovely. Yes.
If you can see that, if I hold it closer, does it focus?
It does.
So this is from Patricia's husband's side of the family, the Knatchbulls. So very old English family, and one of their ancestors was someone called Sir Joseph Banks, who was a really famous explorer. He accompanied Captain Cook on his voyage to sort of Australia. And he was a botanist, and this central yellow diamond belonged to his sister, and then the sort of surround was made by his wife after his death. But if we open it from the back, the wife had that his and his sister's hair and their initials on the back of the locket. So again, it's just another example of using hair in jewellery as a way of remembering someone. This is 40,000 to 60,000. So it's the other one of our top lots in jewellery, along with that necklace.
Stones we see here, are these old mine cuts or these are round cuts?
All old mine cuts. So this is from the late 18th century, and then the scroll surround is really the early 19th century. And actually with this one, we weren't able to unmount the central diamond because of the way it was set and the fact that it has the locket on the back with the hair, that it would just been too damaging to it. So unfortunately, we haven't been able to grade something like this. But when you look at it as a jewel and with the story behind it, it's sort of, that's where the value really lies. But yeah, this is probably the most sparkly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me, which is your favorite lot, which you really enjoyed cataloguing and you really enjoyed researching, holding the piece in your hand?
I mean, obviously the pig, because I find it just so funny. But do you know, having spoken to you and put this on my head, I would love to own a bandeau like that. I think that's so cool.
It's also adorable, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. That's definitely, whoever buys this has to get a tiara frame made or something put on. But another lot I find adorable is this pair of elephants. So not jewellery.
Oh yes.
But these were given by Louis to Edwina. Let me just hold them properly. So can you see that sort of beautiful enamel?
Gorgeous, yes. Are these from Indian origin? Do they have any provenance?
They are. I know that Louis gave them to Edwina for an anniversary, and you can see on the bottom it's engraved Edwina from Dicky, which was how he was known within the family. And I think they're just very beautiful. And there's the other one. So that's one.
Yes. I'm guessing this has to be from Jaipur.
Yes. In the catalogue it says, hang on, have to look it up in the catalogue because this is a different department. But I just love the sort of the reds and the whites on the even the base. Can you see the flowers that it's standing
Yes.
on?
Yes. Talking about the catalogue, can we have a look at the catalogue?
So here are the this is what it looks like. Do you know what's such a shame is we had such a small print run that these are pretty much all sold out, but inside it's sort of everything that's inside the catalogue is on the website. So for example, these elephants,
Right.
which were a wedding anniversary, so they were commissioned from Jaipur. But actually, if you go onto the Sotheby's website, on the Mountbatten sale, you can have the overview page and you can see a PDF of this, which gives you all these amazing like interior shots, for example, and essays and things. So that's all on the website, as well as going through each lot. So it's definitely worth a read. There's a lot of amazing stories in here.
Have any more jewels that you would like to show us?
On my tray, I think I've sort of nearly finishing what I was showing. There's a few more pieces. Again, these are from Queen Victoria. So one of them, this is for Alice and her daughter who died that year, again with hair in the back. And this is Alice, and you can see an enamel portrait of her. Let's see if the light works like that. And again, hugely historic. The estimates I think on these are about £1,000 each, but it's really exciting to hold something like this. And then looking at the rest of the sort of tutti frutti, I was going to show this pair of clip brooches, which I think if you wore the whole set, so you can see them.
Wonderful.
So she had a small pair of earrings as well. I'll hold an earring up as well. So imagine having a whole set on at once. And Edwina and her husband had this amazing duplex in central London, and it was all done incredibly 1930s, gold ceiling. So you can imagine her wearing these at parties.
Wow, amazing. So you have carved gemstone necklace, you have for these earrings, you have a ring. So it's a complete set. That's what you mean, right?
Yeah.
And they're so Indian inspired. Most, in fact, are Indian inspired.
Yeah, they are. It's such a beautiful sale. So yeah, definitely everyone have a look on the website.
Absolutely. And before we call it a wrap, can we see the carved necklace once again?
Of course. So this is the necklace.
Wonderful.
At 40,000 to 60,000. So one of our top lots. But I always think any style like this, I just describe it as juicy. It just looks like sort of berries and leaves. It's amazing. And it sits quite short on the neck if you were to wear it. I mean, it's, can you see that? It's fairly short around like a collar, which I think is quite nice. You kind of draws the attention more to the earrings as well. Absolutely.
And do we see a sapphire cabochons?
Yeah, there are a few. So these ones here are sapphires, the odd one, and a few sapphires. So it's cabochons and carved leaves.
This is really stunning. This particular necklace, that's a highlight of the auction, is it?
Yeah, it's one of the higher value pieces. So hopefully it will find a wonderful new home.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. And so before we call it a wrap, please share with all our audience where can they view the entire catalog and more about the auction. So they can, of course, go on Sotheby's website and do all the needful research. Yeah, and of course, bid.
Yeah, sotheby's.com. And if you type in Mountbatten, everything will be there and you'll see all this information. So yeah, please enjoy.
So with that, thank you so much for giving us all your time and for showing us these remarkable jewels. And also a lot of gratitude to the entire team at Sotheby's who's helped us curate this wonderful conversation. And I'm glad that we could share jewels with all our audiences.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yes,
and
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, bye.